Boss TV, where inspiration strikes.
Most people begin businesses not knowing that it takes a lot to run a successful business, and I had to find time and bring a professional who has done matters to do with coaching, entrepreneur, and what have you.
It has to come from within. So when you start for this simply because you've been inspired by the exterior motivation, you will not be able to sustain. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand yourself first. Who is Shadrach?
Right.
Okay? Who is Shadrach? So that when you get frustrated, you don't quit. People quit because they started with wrong reasons. When they get frustrations, they quit in the long last.
Right.
So you have got to ask yourself, is that, am I in the right business? Is this who I am? I think that's important. I have tried employment. Then I found I can't fit in it. You get? Then I am wired to be the person who inspires, who brings the best out of people. And that area, I can only do it through entrepreneurship.
Right, very true. You know, from listening to you, Mr. Vincent, I have a feeling that you having that complex kind of way of operating a business. Do that kind of style, can it be applied on these few and the smaller enterprises that we have in our locality, you know?
So actually there is nothing like, say, complex and simple. Business is business. Business is very simple. You have an idea that can be paid for. You have seen people who can pay for that idea. You just go ahead and start.
Right.
And you keep adding value every single day. Let's say I want to be a mama mboga. I want to start a kiosk to sell tomatoes, to sell greens and all that. I will start. I will go to Kongowea. I have the passion to begin it. I go to Kongowea. I get the products and I start selling.
Right.
But then in the long run, I have to understand that some clients, they want nyanyas to be, dropped at their doorhouse. Rather than just sitting on the kibanda, I start delivering those tomatoes. Now, you see, I'm growing. You get? And then all of a sudden, you will find I will even start a supermarket selling the same things when I started selling a kibanda. So getting comfortable is what makes us run out of business.
Right.
So it's important to keep adding value. It's like today, I have a shoe shop. You come, I sell you some shoes. And then I realize you love dressing well.
Very true.
The next time you come, I'll sell you shoes with a trouser. Then I will add a top, which is a shirt. It's the same business. Is there complexity? No. Only that I am trying to add value. I want when people come to my business, it's a one-stop shop.
Right.
You get your shoes, you get your trouser, you get your shirt. You get your vest as well. That's the whole point. Everybody can be able to succeed in entrepreneurship. I think the biggest issue is the mindset and the reason why you're starting that business.
Very true. Right. There's a Swahili saying that penye miti sijui hapana wajenzi, and you can find somebody who has the mindset that you're talking about here, and capital is also missing. But we also have others who have the capital and have the mindset, but at the end of the day, we have some kind of financial problems and what have you. Now, in terms of financial management here, of how we run our businesses, how do we go about that?
If you are to ask me, one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs have is learning not to separate themselves from their businesses.
What do you mean exactly?
You see, when I started a business, I need to separate myself from my business.
Right.
Let me give an example. I come to Boss TV, you give me a training contract for the staff. That contract is for Serve Skills, not for Otumbo Vincent. A lot of entrepreneurs, what they do is that once they are paid, they take that money to themselves. Okay?
Right.
They change their lifestyle. If I was living in Changamwe, probably I move to Bamburi. I buy an expensive gadget. I change my dress code. And the money you are using is the money for your business. It's not yours. So what happens is that COVID hits, for example. You find the business has no money. You have no money. So the question is, who is fooling who? Then you go down. You have to pack your bags from Bamburi back to Changama again, for example, or from Nyali back to Changama again, because you cannot sustain that lifestyle. So the point is this, for financial management, let an entrepreneur separate himself or herself from the business. Any service you offer, any money you earn, that is business money. Pay yourself a salary.
Right.
So that in dry seasons, the business can be able to pay you something back. But you will find that you take the money because it's your business, you call yourself the CEO and the everything, you go and then you have to, impress your friends, and then at the end of the day, you suffer alone. Okay? In dry seasons, when problems come, you have nothing to offer. The business has nothing to support you. Since I began my businesses, I always pay myself a salary.
Right.
I am under salary. Any money I make, it's business money. The business will pay me salary. So during dry seasons, even if there is no work, I can stay comfortably in the house because I know Serve Skills is going to pay me salary at the end of the month.
Very true. Right. Mr. Vincent, I know you've met people who do businesses, run their businesses successfully, whether if they have achieved it or not. Which is the little secret about running a business that you can share?
The secret is, people say a lot, is passion. But I will tell you, the secret is knowing yourself. The secret to running a successful business is knowing yourself. When you know yourself, then it means you will know your business, you will know your investments, and you will know your clients.
Right.
People who tend to know their business more than they know themselves, they end up failing because they lose themselves in the process of running a business. So when you know yourself, you will understand your passion, you will understand your profession, you will understand your vocation, and you will understand your mission as an individual.
Right.
So when you don't know yourself, you cannot even sustain outside pressure. You will succumb to the popular opinions. Popular opinions is COVID, so business is not doing well.
Right.
While in that COVID, others are thriving in the process. So the secret is knowing yourself,
Right.
betting yourself, and being true to yourself, being authentic to yourself. And that is the secret of running a successful business.
Definitely, I'll have to ask you about how running a business during this time of COVID-19 has been quite a situation and quite a bigger problem, definitely owing to the ripple effects of COVID-19 in the business sector. But coming back to running a business, Mr. Vincent, you find today somebody wakes up and maybe opens up a business of a kiosk, but a few months later it doesn't work, he shuts it down, then goes ahead and wants to also try something on Mitumba. It doesn't work, tomorrow again he finds another thing. What is wrong with such a person?
Exactly what I've just finished saying a few minutes ago. Do you know yourself? What is the purpose of a car? What's the purpose of a car? You can answer me. What's the purpose of a car?
Perhaps for transportation and issues to do with traveling.
What's the purpose of a cup?
You're taking big back to class, eh?
Exactly. That's the point. And sometimes it feels uncomfortable.
All right.
We all understand the purpose of a cup. It's to hold the contents in it. We know the purpose of a mouth. Now, do you know the purpose of Shadrach? Okay. So if you start business without really understanding your engine, you will be hopping from one place to another.
Right.
Because then you don't feel comfortable wherever you find yourself. See, when you are at your comfort zone, you are the best version of yourself. So if you see somebody hopping from one business to another, the problem is not the business. The problem is the person. They don't know who they are.
Mr. Vincent, suppose I want to start a business right now, and you're telling me I should know myself. What exactly do you mean? You know, maybe there is somebody there being confused.
That's a very good question. All these years since you were born,
Right.
Number one, you were born as a blank child. Then your parents started writing notes on you, okay, in terms of how they treat you, how they talk to you, the environment, then came the schools, then came to all these things. So you will find that 99% probably of who you are is not yourself.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
It's a combination of all these forces. But then you've never sat yourself and asked yourself, who am I in this situation? Okay. So I'll give you a typical example of myself. I think to bring the point of home about knowing yourself.
Very true.
It's better to use my personal example. I did procurement and contract management, and I graduated with a first class. But am I doing procurement? I am not. I told you I started with cleaning business. Am I doing cleaning business right now?
Not really.
I am not. Which means I'm a perfect example of a person who is hopping from one place to another.
True.
Okay, I started cleaning, I dropped it. I went to lecturing at some point, I dropped it. I did procurement, I got employed as a warehouse manager, I dropped it. That's an example of I was hopping. Why? Because I didn't find meaning. I didn't find satisfaction at the end of the day.
Right.
So when you do things because you know yourself, you get satisfaction. The reason why they keep hoping is because after amemaliza kuuza mitumba, akirudi nyumbani, he or she does not feel that satisfaction. You get the point? Because there is that happiness you get when your client smiles and thank you for serving me. So that is important, because entrepreneurship is not just about making money. It's about changing lives. And the first life you change is yourself. So when you know yourself, you know your limits, you know what inspires you, what makes you wake up early in the morning.
Right.
Then you pursue that. Then you become a successful entrepreneur.
Very true.
But the excitement, I have some money, let me begin this, let me do that, you will find that at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. You have the power to start, but you don't have the power to continue.
Very true. Now, with the employment thing in a country that is quite huge here, we have quite a percentage of people who are unemployed. We've had quite also listened to the government through maybe saying they will go ahead and help out, give out monies to boost the SMEs. Now, in our locality, we have so many businesses. Some we do the same businesses, like talk about the mamambogas. We have quite a lot of them in our society here. Now, supposing in that kind of a situation, I believe competition is key there and is paramount. And there is need for you as a businessman to have some right of tricks on how to tackle issues about competition. How would you go about that as well?
So competition. I think in my life, running my own business, I've never seen, if you started as a consulting company, I don't see you as a competition, personally. That's why I said it's all about perspective.
Right.
It's about the mindset. You are doing your thing. You have your own style. I am doing mine. I have my own style. You have your own set of clients. I have my own set of clients. So I think, you see, if you start a business and you start making decisions based on the competition, you are going to fail. Because let's talk of strategies. It's important to be aware there is competition.
Right.
But do your thing.
Right.
Be aware it is there, but do your thing. The moment you start concentrating on competition, it means you are leaving your job and you are focusing on Shadrach's job. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Right.
And that is when you lose it. Because the competition, probably they are focused on adding value to their business. And you are focused on copying them and trying to beat them. And then they end up beating you. So put the focus where it is supposed to be. It's like even in school, the best student in math, I don't see that person as a competitor.
Right.
Okay? Probably I could go even for mentorship. So the point is this, in business, there will always people doing business that you do. It's important to be aware that competition is there, but then focus on enhancing your craft. Enhancing your style. That is what we call the blue ocean strategy. There are a lot of water bodies in the world, but nothing is like the ocean. The color, it's different. The way we live with the ocean around us.
Right. The waves are even different.
Yes, exactly. Set yourself apart using your own strengths, but be aware of the competition.
Right.
They are there to inspire us, but not really to get out of business. And people have their own style of doing things. So focus on your own style and enhancing that craft. And actually, it's about your value proposition.
Very true.
You have a kibanda here and you're just waiting on walk-ins. Me, I'm even delivering. You see, we are in the same, but we are doing something really different.
Right. So it's about developing and strategizing and coming up with your own craft. That's what Mr. Otumbo Vincent is talking about here as far as entrepreneurial skills is concerned. Remember, this is a topic of our discussion this morning. We are tackling what is quite common there. Most people begin businesses not knowing that it takes a lot to run a successful business, and I had to find time and bring a professional who has done matters to do with coaching, entrepreneur, and what have you. Mr. Vincent, now, we are in a very difficult time of COVID-19, and it has had a lot of ripple effects in the business sector as well. How is the situation like from your side?
Okay, let's go with the normal mindset. It's COVID-19. A lot of organizations are cutting costs, and training is not the first thing in their mind, actually. Training could not be the first thing in their mind. People are looking into putting food on their table.
Right.
Where do they get extra cash for training? Okay. So, but then there is something that business has been tough, yes, during COVID-19, but I have nothing to complain about.
Right.
Because I have not slept hungry and I have served clients. Even in the midst of a crisis, there are people who value the services that you offer. So rather than being consumed by the crisis, be consumed in looking for these people who still need your services. So that's what we have been focusing on, Serve Skills. We know a lot of people have cut the budgets on training and all that, and also changing internet as internet technology.
Right.
And you know, everything has an opportunity. We used to do, like one of the programs we offer, personal mastery program, we used to do one-on-one. COVID-19 came. We now offer this program outside the country via Zoom.
Right.
You get? So it has expanded the market. So the problems are there, but then the question is, how do I get this client who always values the service that I offer despite the challenges? That has been the focus.
Right.
Of course, the number of clients might have decreased. We might have re-evaluated our pricing strategy, but then the point is this: we are still getting business.
Very true. Right. And listening to you, Mr. Vincent, I've heard you mention like you do some bit of coaching in terms of the business sector and the line of entrepreneur. Do you feel like most people in our locality also need this kind of coachings and education that you guys are offering?
Now, I'll go back to a question that you even asked me yesterday when we were planning for this. One of the reasons that entrepreneurs do not succeed, it's because they don't get mentorship. Okay?
Right.
They don't get somebody who can keep them in perspective. And that's why most of them fail. As we speak right now, we are just winding up a program of training entrepreneurs with Hazina Accelerator in town at Royal Court Hotel. For entrepreneurs, one of them is called Depi, and she's doing gifts all the way from Nakuru.
Right.
Imagine she invested for the training all the way from Nakuru to come to Mombasa. We have another gentleman doing briquettes. We have another one doing farming for onions and capsicum, but using pumice, not the normal soil, to grow them.
Right, right.
And then we have another one who is trying to make things like flour, but then to help the malnutritioned families and people. These guys, the four of them who are undergoing this training, give them 2 years. They will not be the same place they are today.
Right.
Why? Because they have people who are keeping them in perspective, who are inspiring them and impacting with them skills. We go to schools, yes, but we don't get the skills that are needed in the streets of business. And that is what mentorship, training, and coaching offers.
Right.
You have to be trained, you have to be coached, and you have to be mentored in entrepreneurship.
Most people, specifically those who are the SMEs people, they will tell you like these coachings and workshops that you guys do to try and get these entrepreneurial skills are costly. Is that the case?
It's their mindset that is the problem. I'll tell you for sure, they are not expensive. One of the programs I run myself called Ujasiriamali for Young Entrepreneurs is, I call the entrepreneurs young, mostly youth, and I ask them, how much do you want to pay for 2 sessions a month? Once they agree, I tick. Is it expensive? No, it's not. I think we need to be able to have that conversation. Okay, this could be the amount, but then what are you offering?
Right.
The moment you start with the mindset it's expensive, even if you are told to pay 500, it will still be expensive. Okay. And then these SMEs, for example, are saying like that. Let's take in point an SME who loves to take 1 bottle or 2. How much do they spend at the end of the month on a bottle or 2? Quite a lot. And actually, it could be more than what they could have invested in getting training and mentorship.
Right.
Whether it is paid or not, I'm sure there are programs that offer mentorship for free. But then again, if you have the mindset it's expensive, you will not see these programs which are even for free. You get? As in Accelerator has been doing mentorship, you go, you pitch, if you qualify, you get mentorship and training.
Right.
If you come to Serve Skills and tell me, Vincent, I would like you to mentor me, there are high chances I will not even charge you if you have approached me as a person. So the point is, let's us invest on things that can make our businesses grow.
Right.
These people, mentors, trainers, and coaches, they add value to your business. They help you innovate. They help you creatively handle your business in the process. So I feel it's not expensive. I feel it's about them to step out and then approach the people who are providing that, and they will be able to get training and mentorship and coaching.
Right. From the private sector, I think you guys are doing much. Do you feel also on the side of the government, they are quite doing much in making sure that at least they help out the few individuals who do business?
I may not comment much about the government, but I've seen programs even being run by our fellow leaders who are in government, who are doing a lot of programs. The other day, we trained about 50 entrepreneurs by Sharif Nasir Foundation.
All right.
But then you will find that even out of those 50, a few will succeed because they took it serious. I remember there is a time the government was running the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program, and a lot of entrepreneurs were trained in JKU Arts, Technical University of Mombasa. But let me ask you, Shadrach, how many of them have you seen their stories changing out here? How many of them can tell you this training transformed me this way?
Very few.
Because I felt that in that program, they were even being facilitated fare. Some of them just came because of the fare and the food. You get?
Right.
I feel it's also important for entrepreneurs to pay for the training because then they value it. They value it. Anything given for free, you don't take it serious.
Right. It's quite something to note there. There is need for seriousness as far as attending and having these so-called entrepreneurial skills coaching sessions that have been offered by different entrepreneurs and expertise in matters to do with business. And of course, I was speaking to one, Mr. Otumbo Vincent, who does matters to do with entrepreneurial skills. And before we wrap up, Bwana Vincent, I want you to look at the camera there, and perhaps somebody is watching you who has that idea you were talking about. And of course, he has no means to get the capital and is quite wondering, how can I find myself into doing that business? What can you advise exactly?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. There are 2 things you need for you to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Number 1, you need an idea that can be paid for. Number 2, you need someone who can pay for that idea, and that person is called the customer. Entrepreneurship is what we need. Just to give you a little bit of a statistics about our country, Kenya, if you Google it, 43% of the population in our country lives below the poverty line. A lot of the youth who are aged between 20 years and 30 years, 35 years, are unemployed. Rather than focusing on the impact of unemployment, let us focus on how we can create employment ourselves.
Right.
And here are the opportunities. I am in Mombasa. I believe in Mombasa. Technology. Look at the Kenya we have today. It is like a silicon savannah.
Right.
Look at the innovations. Look at the technology. Safaricom, M-Pesa. Look at the innovations that we have. Look at the apps that we have for crowdfunding. A lot of resources. Like in Mombasa, look at the innovation hubs we have. We have Technical University Innovation Hub. We have Swahili Port. We have closed the gap all the way. They have come to Kenya to support the entrepreneurs.
Right.
And we have a lot that we can tap into. About 16 million Kenyans have access to a phone and internet. As a youth out there talking about unemployment, what can you do to reach these 16 million people?
Very true.
TikTok came. Just out of nowhere, celebrities were born. And now they have jobs.
Right.
And I believe we use this social media, we know them. There is always something that we can do.
Right.
I will inspire somebody out there who is thinking of starting a business to tap into yourself. Tap into yourself.
Right.
Which skill do you have that can be paid for?
Very true.
Which knowledge do you have that can be paid for? Which talent do you have that can be paid for? Explore that with passion, commitment, and dedication. And the fruits will be a testimony that we will listen to.
Right. Thank you so much. I do believe quite some bit of thought from my guest there. Tap within yourself is the key point that you are supposed to note in a bid to try and get the necessary entrepreneurial skills that will help you run that business that you have, or rather that idea that you are looking forward to make it a reality in terms of a business. And on that note, we want to bring the business talk into a wrap. Thank you so much, my guest, for showing up.